story also pointed out issues between Jeannie Buss and LeBron James.
The Lakers proprietor just went public with how she genuinely feels regarding LeBron James and what she expressed about Bronny. It transforms everything we assumed we comprehended about this father-son experiment because behind sealed doors, the friction was considerably more severe than anyone envisioned. The explosive revelation that rattled the Lakers. In January 2026, a devastating disclosure emerged that pulled back the veil on everything transpiring behind sealed doors at the Lakers organization. And what it disclosed was chaotic, intricate, profoundly personal, and truthfully somewhat startling even for individuals who assumed they had witnessed everything. It all commenced with a gentleman named Baxter Holmes. Now, if you monitor the NBA intimately, you recognize that designation extremely well. He's among ESPN's premier investigative journalists. An individual who doesn't merely compose narratives, but excavates them from locations that most reporters can't even penetrate. And when he publishes something, the complete basketball universe halts what it's accomplishing and pays extremely close attention. And on January 21, 2026, he published a composition that transmitted absolute tremors through that universe. The piece was titled, "How Buss Family Infighting Drove the Ton B Sale of the Lakers." And it was a profound exploration into the long-standing feuds, authority struggles, and bitter rivalries within the Buss household that ultimately resulted in the franchise being acquired by billionaire Mark Walter, co-proprietor of the Dodgers, for an astonishing $10 billion valuation. Now, the household drama itself was sufficiently scandalous to occupy an entire Netflix documentary. We're discussing siblings betraying each other, clandestine authority maneuvers, terminations of blood relative, and a magnitude of dysfunction that would compel even the most experienced reality television producer to sit upright and commence taking annotations. But concealed inside that expansive, profoundly reported narrative was something that captured everyone's attention, even more than the Buss household infighting. It was the disclosure about how Jeannie Buss, the female who has been directing the Lakers for years, the female who navigated the post-Jerry Buss period and maintained the franchise together through pandemonium, genuinely felt regarding LeBron James.
The Lakers are having a strong start to the season, sure. However, things off the court might not be as strong.
And that precisely there establishes the stage flawlessly for everything that was about to surface. Because according to the ESPN disclosure, circumstances off the court were considerably more severe than anyone on the exterior could have potentially envisioned.
The story also pointed out issues between Jeannie Buss and LeBron James.
The issues is articulating it remarkably mildly. The piece declared that Jeannie privately complained about what she perceived was James' excessive ego and the blatant dominance that he and Clutch Sports wielded over the organization at occasions. Now, Clutch Sports, naturally, is the agency operated by Rich Paul that represents both LeBron and Anthony Davis, providing them enormous, nearly unprecedented leverage over the franchise's decision-making procedure at practically every tier. And evidently, Jeannie didn't appreciate that whatsoever. She perceived like the tail was directing the canine, like her own organization was being navigated by forces beyond her command, and that troubled her profoundly. But it deteriorates, considerably worse actually. The disclosure also declared that she didn't appreciate that James was deemed a rescuer for the struggling franchise when he materialized in 2018, and that it was he who selected the Lakers rather than the squad's leadership obtaining praise for securing him. Let that absorb for a moment. The proprietor of the Los Angeles Lakers was reportedly troubled, authentically frustrated that the general populace and the press credited LeBron James for selecting to arrive to Los Angeles instead of crediting the front office for being sufficiently competent to recruit him. That is absolutely extraordinary when you contemplate it. And subsequently there was the Russell Westbrook circumstance, which is an injury that evidently never completely recovered. Recall that transaction, the one that was intended to elevate the Lakers over the summit and construct a super squad, but instead produced a catastrophic 33-49 campaign that had everyone directing accusations. Well, according to the disclosure, tensions reportedly intensified following the 2021 Russell Westbrook transaction, and Jeannie allegedly contemplated about not extending James or even exchanging him. She reportedly traversed around the organization perceiving like LeBron didn't accept responsibility, when everything collapsed with that specific arrangement.
Some of the folks that they got rid of, the Kyle Kuzmas of the world, and the ability to re-sign Alex Caruso and others, it had his fingerprints.
And that fingerprint remark is absolutely essential to comprehending the complete picture here. Because when you retreat and examine the maneuvers the Lakers executed during LeBron's tenure there, numerous of them possessed his influence inscribed all over them, whether individuals desired to acknowledge it publicly or not. They exchanged away Kyle Kuzma. They permitted Alex Caruso to depart to the Chicago Bulls for nothing. They relocated Kentavious Caldwell, Pope all in the designation of constructing around what LeBron desired and what Clutch Sports was advocating for. And when those maneuvers didn't materialize the manner everyone anticipated they would, Jeannie evidently perceived like LeBron evaded the criticism and permitted the front office to absorb the heat. But here's the element that rendered this narrative go from merely dramatic to absolutely explosive and impossible to disregard. It wasn't merely regarding the Westbrook transaction or the authority dynamics with Clutch Sports. It was regarding Bronny. According to Holmes' reporting, when the Lakers selected James' offspring, Bronny with the 55th selection in the 2024 draft, Jeannie privately commented that James should be appreciative for such a gesture, but she perceived that he wasn't. She perceived drafting Bronny as a goodwill gesture, an act of devotion and good faith that merited some category of reciprocation and gratitude. And when she didn't perceive like she received that from LeBron, it merely intensified the existing tensions considerably. Now, as immediately as this piece went live and commenced spreading like wildfire across social platforms, Jeannie Buss recognized she had to get ahead of the narrative rapidly. And she accomplished it. She released a declaration to The Athletic that read,
"It's really not right, given all the great things LeBron has done for the Lakers, that he has to be pulled into my family drama."
That's the mentality of a youthful gentleman who is accomplishing his absolute finest to obstruct the commotion and concentrate on what he can command. And when questioned regarding how different he perceives compared to his rookie campaign, his response was truthful and revealing.
We gotta end the first stretch of the season off right, and hopefully come back the second stretch with a empty head and open mind and ready to win some games.
And on the defensive terminus, which is intended to be his signature card and his pathway to an extended NBA profession, Bronny has demonstrated genuine legitimate glimpses of potential. When questioned regarding the challenge of defending Victor Wembanyama, the tallest competitor in the complete association, Bronny didn't hesitate even slightly.
Feel different, feel way more comfortable. My team, my teammates believe in me, my coaches believe in me. That's all I've wanted. So, it's just good to get out there and take advantage of it.
That precisely, there is courage, and you cannot instruct that. But the inquiry that refuses to vanish, regardless of how numerous contests Bronny competes or how excellently he defends, is this: would Bronny even be in a position to defend Wembanyama on an NBA court if his surname wasn't James? That's the discourse that absolutely declines to perish. Former Laker Kwame Brown has been among the most vociferous and most persistent voices on this subject, repeatedly criticizing the circumstance as pure nepotism, declaring, LeBron James' situation merely demonstrated that politics isn't everything. And the footwear controversy in January certainly didn't assist in silencing the critics. When Bronny debuted a personal signature emblem on his Nike LeBron Witness PE sneakers during a contest against the Cavaliers, critics erupted online, highlighting that more accomplished and verified competitors didn't even possess personal emblems yet. The perception of favoritism has pursued Bronny from the absolute commencement, before he even competed a singular regular season contest. During the Summer League, an anonymous colleague expressed frustration, declaring that Bronny was treated as someone separate, not like all of us, which generated annoyance and obstructed the group's capacity to construct chemistry. That's a terrible appearance for any organization, when your own colleagues perceive like one competitor is receiving special treatment before he's even competed a singular authentic NBA contest. It generates a dynamic that is incredibly challenging to overcome and one that contaminates the well for everyone involved. So, is LeBron overprotecting Bronny? That depends completely on who you inquire and what perspective you're examining through. If you're a parent, you probably comprehend the instinct to protect your offspring from hatred and negativity and cruelty, especially when that hatred is magnified by millions of individuals on social platforms who possess nothing superior to accomplish than demolish a youthful gentleman. But if you're a basketball purist, you might contend that LeBron is accomplishing more damage than benefit by not permitting Bronny to sink or swim on his own merits, the identical manner LeBron himself had to accomplish when he was merely years old in Cleveland with the burden of the complete basketball universe on his shoulders. What arrives subsequently for the James household and the Lakers? So, where does all of this position us? We've obtained an explosive disclosure exposing profound and uncomfortable tensions between the Lakers' proprietor and their most prominent superstar. We've obtained a discourse about whether LeBron James is overprotecting his offspring that has consumed the basketball universe for well over a year presently. And we've obtained a franchise that is attempting to determine its immediate and long-term trajectory while navigating one of the most intricate and emotionally charged dynamics in NBA history. The inquiry presently is straightforward, but the response is anything but. What transpires subsequently? Let's commence with LeBron because his circumstance is actually surprisingly uncomplicated when you deconstruct it into its most fundamental components. Brian Windhorst articulated it flawlessly on First Take.
One of the smaller guys on the floor, guarding the tallest guy in the league, so it's definitely a challenge, but I'm up for anything.
That's alternative one. LeBron could depart the Lakers completely and pursue one additional championship somewhere else where the roster is superior constructed for a title campaign. And there's actually an extremely compelling argument for precisely that.
Shay, I think LeBron's future is going to go one of three ways. One, he is going to leave in free agency and go somewhere.
Stephen A. Smith has been advocating this position for a duration presently. And when you sit down and contemplate it objectively, the basketball reasoning absolutely validates. Cleveland possesses Donovan Mitchell, among the most explosive scorers in the association. They possess Evan Mobley, among the most versatile big men in basketball. They're already among the premier squads in the Eastern Conference without LeBron.